Welcome back to Red Hawk Media. Today we're taking a look at part 4 of our Flash tutorials. So far, here's what we've created. I've got a character, we've got a ground with some simple animations, and we've got a VCam that is now following our character. I've customized his movement a little bit, added a little less gravity, a little bit more of a max jump, and I also have a restart box that I thoroughly tested out in like every direction here, which I highly recommend because glitches are very common in this kind of a game. Alright, now today, as of now, most of you are noticing, hey, this game is pretty easy, there's not much to it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start adding in the element of danger here. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. I'm going to add in a basic rotating spike. I'm going to give my character some hit points, and then I'm going to have the hit points react to that spike. It's not going to stop the game today, but it'll be the beginnings of that, so it'll be a game over situation eventually here. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing that I want to do is actually go into the VCam layer. So I'm going to select the VCam layer, and then I'm going to go ahead and double click on that so that I am on the VCam timeline here. Alright, in the VCam timeline, last time we set up our picture, and of course whatever part of the picture is inside the VCam is what shows up, and that's the way it's designed here. It's the same thing for the hit points. We want to add the hit points in here. I'm going to create a new layer, and on the new layer I'm going to call it HP for hit points. Hit points is basically your lifeline or your bar that goes down whenever there's danger. Okay, so with the hit points here, we're going to go ahead and just keep that where it is, and on that frame I'm going to start designing the hit points. Go to text. We're going to keep this relatively simple here. I'm going to just draw out my text here, and let's stick with that red for that, and I'm going to go HP and then colon, and then I'm going to dial down that font size here because I don't want it taking up the whole screen. Right about there. And then I'm just going to resize this so the text box is nice and close on it. And grab the pointer tool, and we're going to go ahead and drag that into the upper corner up here. And we got to make sure that it's inside of the VCam, otherwise again it won't show up. Alright, on the next part I'm going to go ahead and change my fill colors here, and I've got fill of red and I've got a stroke weight of red, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the rectangle tool. This is going to be the actual bar that shows up when for my life. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that out. Okay, and there we go. And I'm going to zoom in on this just to kind of fine tune it, make sure it's all lined up here. And grab the free transform. And very quickly double clicking on here and just lining it up so it's aesthetically pleasing here. So there we go. I've got it matching the top and bottom of the text. I can actually go a little bit smaller here, right about there. And that looks pretty good. If you want to add on rounded corners and make it slanted, or give different color regions in here, so there's like red, yellow, and then blue for vitality, you know, however you want to set that up, customize your bar however you want. Main thing is though that it has a stroke weight around the outside and then a fill, and that's going to play a big part here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the pointer tool, grab that, and double click on here so that I get the stroke weight and the fill, and then I'm going to left click and convert this into a symbol. I'm going to name the symbol HP for hit points and keep the registration right in the middle, and click OK. And now that it's a symbol, it's got its own timeline, so I'm going to double click on it, and you can see I'm now in the HP timeline here inside of the VCam, which is inside of scene 1. Okay, and I've got a couple things going on here, so let's go ahead and deselect here for a moment, and go back to that, and I'm going to go in here, and let's go ahead and create a new layer. Okay, let's call one of these layers outline, and let's call the other one fill. And grabbing just the outside like so, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. So I'm going to go up to edit, cut, or Command X, go to the outline frame here, and then I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to paste in place. So now it's on this layer by itself, and the fill is on the other layer. So here goes my outline, and there's my fill, or vice versa. There's my outline. Now I want to be able to cut pieces of this lifeline out of here without touching the outline, so I'm going to lock the layer. So I click on the lock, And now I go ahead and start my frame by frame animation. To begin with, we're going to take the very first frame, which is full life bar, and we're going to double it up just by hitting F6. Okay, so now I've got 2 frames there. Right? And now we begin the process of whittling away this life bar bit by bit. Now, if you take it in big chunks, your life goes down like rapidly, very rapidly. So I'd recommend like even increments all the way down. You hit delete, and then you F6, F6, and then we're going to go ahead and delete. Hit F6, F6, and you just keep that process going all the way. And this is kind of a nice way to measure it out here so that you can consistently take it out. And delete, and for the sake of time here, I'm going to take some bigger chunks. And I'm working my way down here. But you are creating a frame by frame animation here of your lifeline, which will rapidly go down whenever you touch one of those rotating spikes I was talking about. Let's grab this one, and let's go ahead and just grab the rest of it there. And delete, F6, F6. Alright, now, here we have our lifeline. We're going to go ahead and add in another layer, which we're going to add a bit of code to. It's a simple piece of code. It's probably one of the few pieces of code that I understand. We're going to go back all the way back to frame 1, and we're going to add action onto it. So in the actions here, we're just going to type in stop, open and close parentheses, and semicolon. And that's all there is to it. Okay, and we go ahead and close that out. We have our animation completely created. If you scrub through it, hey, there we go. It goes down. Okay, and that's the idea behind it. Alright, now we are done in the HP timeline, so we're going to go back to the VCam. In the VCam thing, we're going to make sure that we have our symbol selected, our HP symbol, and we're going to go up to the instance name, and we're going to call it lowercase h and lowercase p, HP. Okay, again, that is case sensitive, so be very careful on that to get it correct, otherwise it won't work. Now we're going to go back to scene 1. And I'm going to bring my screen size back down so we can see what's going on here. Alright, and you know what I meant to do is I meant to show you like a working example of all this. And I might actually just cheat a little bit to save some time. So let me open up my previous one here. And this is the one with the spikes. We'll go ahead and open this up. And here we go. And you can kind of see what happens here, just to give you a quick sample. Alright, I've got my character. He jumps. Okay, if I jump over here, I've got my natural obstacle, but, oh, see? My life just goes down really quickly there. Okay, so that's what we've got going on here. And here's my rotating spike. Now, instead of recreating all of that rotating spike, what you would do is just draw it off to the side here. You can create first your spike layer. Okay, so let's go back to our other project. First, I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'm just going to copy it so I don't have to recreate all that. Come back to my other one here. And on this timeline down here, I've got 4 layers right now: VCam, restart, ground, and character. Let's go ahead and another one in there, and we're going to rename this spikes. Okay, and enter. Let's take this up to the top so it's in front of everything else here. And on the first frame of the spikes, I'm going to go ahead and hit Command V. This is where you're going to create or draw your own spike. All I did is use the line tool, put a stroke weight on it, add a little circle, added a polygon to the end. It's nothing fancy. Please come up with your own thing, because this is entirely and incredibly lame. But I'm sure you can do better. So all I did after drawing this is I highlighted it. So I got my pointer tool, highlighted all of it, and I went in and I converted it to a symbol. Okay, it's not going to allow me to do that right now, but actually we can go ahead and break it apart. And let's go ahead and convert it back to a symbol. And we can go, you're going to type in like spike or something like that. I'm going to go spike 1 since I've already got this created. Now, I'm starting with this obstacle actually facing up, and this is the bottom of the obstacle, the green anchor point here. So I would put my registration at the bottom in the middle like this. Now, if you're going to have your spike starting down and it's going to rotate up, you would just switch the registration up to the middle. If you can have the spike like facing to the side, so it's like completely horizontal and it's going left to right, depending on which side you're going to attach it to, you got your middle on the left and your middle on the right. Okay, for now I'm just going to put the registration at the bottom like this. This is an important part because it rotates around your registration point. So this is like your anchor point that all the rotation happens around. Okay, it's the dead center of the circle. And I click OK. Now, on here, I've got a bit of code that I'm going to add on here. So I go ahead and I would right click on this and I go to Actions. Okay, and this is a great chance once again to give a shout out to these folks here, Flash Game Development Tutorials, and you can see I was going back and redoing my restart box here just before the tutorial, but they do a great job of laying out all the code for you, and it's a wonderful walkthrough. It just doesn't have any sound. So again, I copy this. This is the code for the spike. It'll be in the description. Okay, and I'm going to go back now at this point, and in my actions for my spike, Command V, paste that in there, and we'll go ahead and close out of that. Let's go ahead and line up the spike where it will be most dangerous. Okay, and you got to think about your starting position of your character in that and how it's going to rotate. So you might maybe start a little bit further away so it gives you a little bit more time to react and for it to start its rotation. Let's get out of that timeline. Don't want to be in there. Okay, and line that up right over here. There we go. That's pretty good. And remember, you can fine-tune placement with your arrow key. So after you place it and you want to kind of tweak it so it's like dead center, like so, you can do that. All right, now let's go ahead and test this out here. I'm going to go ahead, Command and return. Okay, and I've got a rotating spike. Now, if we played our cards right, when I get close to this spike, actually when I touch it, okay, I'm up here. I should be able to go by with no problem, so make sure you test that. But if the spike hits me, oh no, there goes my life. And I can jump away still. It didn't take all of it because it goes through that animation. And again, it refers back to how big of chunks that you take out of your lifeline when you do that. I think that actually turned out better than my first one. But that's what we're looking at here today, hit points and obstacles. And of course, best way to go about this is I can go ahead now at this point, copy my symbol, go a little Command C here, click off of it, make sure I'm on my spikes layer, and then hit Command V, and now I've got two of them. Okay, and I go ahead and drop that in, and let's make this interesting. Let's put this right into the middle so it's more of a timed element. And then let's go ahead and Command Enter this, and let's go ahead and get up here. Now there's still no game over going on here, okay, but it's starting to add the fun factor in here of the difficulty of the level. Now what we'll do is we'll trigger a game over screen in the next part, and we've got some more stuff to add on here. There's a whole plethora of ideas that we've got. Alright, well thanks for joining us for another episode of Red Hawk Media. Bye.